Hey Captains, it's Admiral Revan here. It's great to see you. It's great to be part of the community for World of Warships. And also, I just want to say thank you to all my supporters and fans out there who are pushing me forward into creating this content. So this content is just dedicated to you viewers, as I am reviewing the super battleships. The super battleships that has been put into works hard from wargaming right now has been really beneficial in the long term, and now I'm really excited to talk about it because this is something that I've been looking forward to it, and now we are excited to put it out there for you viewers out there about my own personal review about why I love super battleships. Now let's bring it out to you in a nutshell, what's involved, and see how it goes from here. So just give me 1 second, we will just bring it out and show you as it is. Alright my friends, this is the super battleships. Okay, so pretty much in a nutshell that these super battleships are pretty awesome. Now I'm gonna close that because we were dealing with airstrikes on the CV. So it's been fun. It's been fun. So I love super battleships, and these are great. You know, these are fantastic. So I'm gonna bring out a couple of replay videos for you to understand why they're so awesome. So pretty much, give me 1 minute. A midway. Alright, so this is a video coming up right now that I'm showing you. This is the actual, well, hang on 1 moment because I'm about to show the desktop here. Hi desktop. There you go, desktop. So this is the desktop. Alright, so the desktop is pretty straightforward. I am loving it what I'm seeing, apart from seeing my camera screen a little bit out of whack. So just bear with me 1 second. Here we go. You gonna play fair to me? Or no? No, it's playing fair with me. Okay. Alright, so this is pretty straightforward. I'm going to show you what happened here. Alright, so this is me playing Satsuma. 510mm guns. I mean, like, it's actually a pretty decent warship all around. She is a beast without being, you know, putting too much into perspective here, but you know, like 510mm guns, you got 4 of them, 2 in the front, 2 in the rear, and it's pretty dope. So here's what happened. So in a nutshell, this is what is happening. Here I am playing on my ship. I'm going to turn this volume off and play the clip. So as you can see, I was lining up on the midway. Okay, I was taking my time, and you notice that down the bottom here, and in this video, that around here, there is like all the guns for the dispersion. So watch this. The shell's been fired. I was taking my time with it. I was staying at full speed. I was still turning, and the shells are looking so sharp on the target, and bam, right there. Just to give you a perspective, that was an incredible shot. So I have to admit, by looking at it, I thought it was just spectacular, just by watching it blow up like that. So I have to admit, the Satsuma is a lovely ship to play. It is, no doubt, one of the best ships that I have seen in game. That I thought it was like spectacular all around, and I caused a lot of damage on both the Satsuma and the Hannover. And I will talk to you a bit more about them so that you understand why these super battleships are good to play with and what's bad about them. So let's just start with the pros and cons. Okay, so I'm gonna mute the game audio from the stream so that we can talk about it and you can hear me clearly. So pretty much what you're seeing here is that this ship reminds us one battleship that we all love and adore, and I'll show you what it is. In the Japanese battleship line, it's none other battleship that we love and adore and appreciate is the Yamato. Alright, so here is the Yamato. I'm just gonna purchase it. I'm on the PTS, and this is the beauty about playing the PTS, my friends, in the community, that you can actually customize the Yamato for what you want. You can actually do a nice secondary build and also improve damage control on this thing. Concealment is a nice to have, and also gunfire range as well too. But the gunfire range currently on these guns is let's have a quick look. 26.6 kilometers. If I add the gunfire control on this one, you are now shooting at 31 kilometers. Close to it. 30.9 anyway. So the torpedo arm protection is around about 55%. Okay. So the Yamato has a weak spot, and it's pretty bad for a weak spot actually. The waterline just here is where the Citadel is most vulnerable on the front, on the rear, and the sides of the ship, if you aim it correctly. If you aim the ship around here in terms of the angle, with a rigger, for example, I have seen it in action that somebody took out a Yamato with 3 or 4 Citadels and pretty much caused a devastating blow. So when you're aiming on a cruiser that can actually penetrate for a battleship like that, it's basically you're aiming just below the front turret of the Yamato on an angle, like a bit of a 20 to 40 degree angle, and you basically fire your guns and smash it on the Citadel of the front or the side, and you can actually pretty much hammer it. Any battleship though can actually Citadel a Yamato pretty heavily too. Sometimes when I see this happen in this game, a lot of people can score a lot of good, hits. You can actually, score some serious, hits, from angles from above. Like, for example, if the shells were coming in just in front of the Yamato, as you can see here, you basically can pretty much penetrate it from an angle if you're a battleship player. If you're a rigger or petro or any heavy cruiser in that regard, you can actually penetrate more on this angle of this, like this side, or this side, like that angle, and fire towards it. If you aim for the waterline just beside it like that, you actually can cause more damage. Or if you want to aim for the rear of the Yamato, pretty much is like, left and right, like so. Enough about the Yamato. So why the Satsuma? Here's the Satsuma. Same idea. As you notice that the Satsuma is a pretty decent battleship, but the Citadels are in the same ideal placement like the Yamato. So is that good or bad? Well, my friends, I think it's pretty bad. Because if you are aiming on the Satsuma like that, honestly, look at that. You can pretty much smash it right there. And if you're a Riga, Petro, Des Moines, Moscow, Stalingrad, any heavy cruiser, it can, if you aim it right and do it correctly, just underneath the front of the turrets, all these shells will just go right through the side and pretty much cause 1 or 2 citadels or more. And, well, my friends, just because that the Satsuma has awesome, 510mm guns and firepower, but it cannot stop a cruiser in time because it takes a while to load. Compared to cruisers, they can load quicker. If you're a destroyer player, nah, you don't have a chance. Really, not really. But that's my point of view about the Satsuma. Now, people were talking to me, so like, Revan, what about the Fukushima? Same idea. But the thing is that, go to the ship preview, have a look at the armor layout, and just have a look for yourself where the Citadels is. Because you can practice in training rooms or in co-op to actually see this happening. Now, what happens from here? What's so good about the Satsuma? Okay. Pros and cons. Let's start with the pros. 510mm guns. Awesome firepower. 4 guns. 2 barrels each. Both front and rear. That's good. The secondary armament is pretty decent as well. You got like 14 guns with twin turrets. And they look pretty decent. I like them, They look pretty good, That looks pretty awesome though. They're actually pretty decent guns all around. Now, the other guns are like, 4x2 secondary armament guns. They actually got 203mm. They're actually pretty good in firepower. They actually do the job quite well for what it's worth. There's a lot of AA defense, 89 in total, and actually in comparison to Yamato is 77. So the Satsuma outnumbers it just by 12. Not bad number, but I mean, like, it's pretty good. I looked at the difference between the secondary armament. The armament is 127mm guns and 135, whereas the Satsuma, on the other hand, is 100 to 203. Big difference. Big difference. It can pack a hit on any cruiser, destroyer, and battleship. Now, any aircraft damage is actually pretty solid on this thing. The Yamato has better damage for shells explosions than the Satsuma does, as you noticed. But when it comes to checking the main battery firing range, if you have the extra gunfire control, which is this equipment module here, then that thing right there tells you a lot. It does. Okay, it tells you a lot. Now, this auto thing, special combat instructions, is basically, it minimizes the dispersion. Okay, so the higher it gets, you see an orange vertical actually in the middle on the thing. So I will show you again on the desktop. So this orange vertical here is auto. This is related to these auto guns down the bottom down here. Okay, so when I'm looking at that, seeing the auto guns, it's actually pretty decent. Okay, and you can actually see it automatically click, and you can fire guns with it, and it actually narrows the dispersion and all that jazz, and you have a great time killing targets quite quickly. In comparison to other battleships out there that you're running fast, your dispersions can be all over the place. And also, when you're turning or not turning, and thinking about this one as well, where you end up realizing, and this is just me, you end up realizing that, well, as much as I like to have this dispersion thing going on, Is there a real need to have Deadeye? Well, if you had Deadeye on a Satsuma with this ability, honestly, it's a no-brainer. It's pretty much way too overpowered for that. But glad Deadeye is not there for it, but you know, at least you're aware of it for now. Okay. So, the maneuverability in this ship, pretty good. For nearly 30 knots, it's about like 28.4. And it actually does quite well for its rudder shift and stuff like that. The Hannover, on the other hand, is pretty damn decent as well too. So, the Hannover is a good ship overall, but there's one thing that Satsuma and the Hannover are really different on, and I will show you the difference here. The torpedo protection damage reduction. The Satsuma kicks its ass, being have nearly 60%. Like 60%. Like seriously. This, you know, just understand that anything that is, you know, being pre-released on the public test server for World of Warships is always subject to change. Okay? Even in development stages. So, just by looking at it, looks great, man. Okay, so just by looking at the content here, I think it's awesome. Really, I do. I just think that the torpedo reduction on the Hannover is more like the Kurfürst, the German Tier 10 battleship. So this is perfect. Okay. So the Kurfürst torpedo protection is only 25%. Big difference in guns, you know, like considering I just decked it out with 420mm guns. Let me just start the build for us and then I can explain more detail. So the thing is that with the Kurfürst, it can be designed as a tanking vessel. It can do the job quite solidly. And honestly, it's been heavily used in clan battles for most players on the EU and NA server. Don't know much about Asia, but I have seen the Kurfürst in that battle for a few times anyway. The gun range of this thing is pretty decent for 23, you know, 0.4, nearly 24 kilometers with the gun modification. If you did not have the gun modification, there you go, 20, you know, kilometers. But you know, honestly, this is an opportunity for you to have fun. Yeah, so this is good. This is very good. To have this sudden change, a positive change. Now, okay. I just decked out the Kurfürst the way I think. But anyway, let's go play with one of the battleships, just to show how good it is shortly, but I will explain about the Hannover and compare it to the Kurfürst. So the Kurfürst, as you know, has 25% torpedo reduction. In comparison to the Hannover, it's only 30%. 5% difference, not really that great. It's more an upgrade in the super battleship. As you notice that you only have twin turrets on both the front and the rear. Whereas the Kurfürst, on the other hand, had triple barrels on both the front and the rear, and they're all 4 guns. Not bad. Now, It's only at 420mm guns. I have to admit I was pretty stoked with that. But the Germans have upgraded guns again to 483mm guns. Not as strong as the Satsuma, but it does pack a punch. The gunfire range on this thing is 24.8, whereas the Satsuma is 31.3 if you decked it out the way I just did. So, even though it's been decked out the way I did it, it's just that, yeah, it's still a good ship though to play. The trouble is though with this vessel is that you'll find it a bit hard at times. So yeah, this is a good opportunity. The anti-aircraft defense on the Hannover is very good, very solid, but anything can get through. As you notice that the damage shell explosion is 1610 at the moment. On the Curfest is the same, so it's actually pretty good. Gunfire range is 6 kilometers on the Hannover. Curfest did have the same, so everything you're seeing there is pretty much the same. Alright, so max speed is 30 knots on the Curfest. Same with the Hannover, and the maneuver cycle turning radius is actually an extra 10 meters. So I think it is. Yeah, 10 meters. So there you go. Concealment's pretty good. Everything I see on there is actually pretty decent in compared to the Curfest. But yeah, it's good. It's good. But honestly, man, this ship is pretty decent to play on. The Hannover, that is. The Hannover is pretty solid. It's got good guns, good firepower, good steering for the secondaries and everything. So honestly, when I first played the Hannover is well worth checking it out. So let's just talk about the Citadel. As you notice in comparison to the Satsuma, that you don't have a little bit of an angle thing, a little bit peeking out in the front of this, and it's all side on. The Citadel pretty much just right there on the middle of the ship, but it is hard to score a hit on it. Okay, but if you don't have dev strike flags on the ship, there is a chance that your ship can blow up from torpedoes. Speaking of torpedoes, I would recommend deep water torpedoes in this thing. Also, Holland torpedoes is pretty effective. Shimakaze torps are damn effective. Same as their Haragumo. But the thing is that I've noticed with all these torpedo ships going against super battleships, you have to be very close and personal with it. But just understand that, sneaking attacks is probably the best way to do it. Alright. So we're going to do something like having fun with the Satsuma. And as you can see, that the guns and everything are all pretty much the same. Alright. Mm-hmm. Alright, so we're gonna do a bit of battle in progress with the Satsuma and put it in a test drive. Just give me 1 second, we'll be right with you. And I have to admit, it does take a little while. Apologies in advance, folks, that it does take a little while to load. But what can I tell you about in general with the Satsuma and Hannover? Both are very good warships. The trouble is with both warships is that they all have their great strengths and great weaknesses. And this is the only major weakness for the Satsuma. If I was to get it, hypothetically, in terms of the game itself, I would have gone for the Hannover, the Germans, over the Japs battleship design because of one thing or only. It's not about the firepower. It's all about how you use the ship and how you defend yourself and which one you feel comfortable with it. Honestly, I would go for the Hannover, who is similar to the Kurfürst, over the Satsuma. So we're actually getting some people in now. They are slowly coming along. Let's just give them a chance and then we'll get straight into battle. Do 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 do. Here we go. Pardon me, been a long day. But here we go. Yay! Fun times! So this is a battle with the Satsuma. Now, I will do a bit of recording a little bit later for the Hannover in action. But in order to get the tokens in this game, you have to win victories on your T9s and 10s in this battle for this game mode, Super Battleships and Domination. It's fun. Don't get me wrong. You win or lose, you get tokens. Here we go.
Action stations. Good luck and fair seas.
Oh. We gotta fix the audio. Hehe. My apologies, folks. Alright. Okay, so as you notice that the HUD is, UI is up to date, so I can show everything that's on there. If you hold the control key down, you actually can see like your detectability range by sea and air, and also the secondary firing range, and also AA, and main battery. Honestly, main battery, it almost covers the whole map. Now, as you can see, that the guns are not yet ready for special ability, and then it's good to minimize the dispersion by negative 35%. As you all can see, that the gun range for the secondary batteries is almost 11 kilometers, which is 10.5 at the moment. And spotting range is like pretty decent for 38 kilometers, but in terms of main battery, 31.3. Alright, let's do this. Okay, take your time. Okay. So I'm going to be creeping around the corner to get this Daisy? Drake and Hannover and Holland. Holland. Very dangerous ship. If I launch aircraft, if you're wondering about the range, it's about like 37.6. But anyway, here we go. Shots were fired with the big batteries. Focus on the Drake. And it's like 4 overpins. But you see, like, the gun, it's so accurate. What you do there, it's pretty straightforward. I don't know what this Holland is trying to prove. Okay, well, I was not expecting that. There goes the Brindisi. Pretty damn decent guns. Alright, here we go. Secondary is open firing on that Hannover as I try the corner there. Now, the question I did ask myself the other day, does the Hannover have a weak spot if the Satsuma is pretty much, you know, full on focused on it? We're about to find out. Here we go, aiming guns, shells right there toward the waterline. Trying to get him. Nothing solidly hit there. So I'm going to stay bow in. I'm not going to change direction. I'm going to stay bow in on the target and take a lot of hits. So super battleship versus super battleship, pretty full on. Still no damage, not enough damage for Citadel. But I just noticed that my dispersion has increased every time I use the guns. But that's the point. I'm enjoying the fact of what I can do with it. And that's more important. Okay. But that's pretty much it, how you use it on the basics of the Satsuma there. Now, the thing is that keeping yourself angled and bow in, you actually will reduce most of the hits on you. As you can see, the Hannover is got, like, I got a few tokens to get. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to break up the recording into 2 parts so that you can see it all in one video. 1 second. Sorry about that. We're at part 2 now. Part 2 is actually we're going to play the Hannover. Now, I got the Hannover ready to go. It's just a matter of ready to put it together, you know. So the Hannover is actually a very good super battleship we're gonna play. So the Hannover is looking like this. So it's a tier 10 super battleship that we deal with. It's a special super battleship of the Z-Plan program. Torpedo protection is 30%. Not that great, but what is good about it is that the guns that it has on it is actually 483mm guns, and also some incredible AA defense, and also a lot of secondaries with fire range at 6 kilometers. It's got like 99 AA defense guns, wow, and also 99 secondaries. That's a lot. 98 secondaries. But here we go. We're gonna deal with this in more detail for you. This ship is pretty decent in battle. I had done over 200,000 damage on this thing quite easily, depending on the map you play. But I will say this very openly though, anything in what you've seen on this video so far can subject to change. It can depend on what modules and captain spec and everything, but it's well worth it in the long run. So let's just get this into battle, and we'll take you out and to a bit of fun and adventure, because you will love what you're gonna see next. All right. We're about to find out. It takes a little while to load up though, unfortunately, when you see things like this. Right, here we go. Exactly. Alright, here we go. Hannover, German Navy. Lovely warship all around. One thing about this ship is that it is got a good variety of guns on this thing. 2 in the front, 2 in the rear, twin guns. Now, let's be honest about it. Why do I love this ship? It's got great AA, great secondary builds. Definitely the secondary range is 12 kilometers. It just is like bad as the Bismarck or the Kurfürst, if you deck it out right. But anyway, no matter. So let's just get up there and start pushing up to the enemy. Alright. The fun part is about to begin. So we got a CV in battle. We got a lot of players on both sides for a change. No bots. Whoa. So this is begin the dogs of war. Alright. So this is play by ear. The auto defense special combat instructions is like 12% is added to the secondary fire range, and negative 40% in battery dispersion. So for the secondaries only, I have to admit this is going to be interesting. Oh, the Yamato is firing at me a long distance. I don't know about that. Probably mistakes will be made in this one. But anyway, we're about to find out. And Satsuma is running the distance. We're about to get ready to engage that in a minute here. Our own Satsuma is deliberately behind armed. I don't know why. So here I am, getting prepared to fire my guns at the Satsuma on its Citadel, but not yet. But look at this. This Yamato is deliberately going all gun-ho against me. I wonder if this Yamato is doing this. Well, we could be doing that, but I don't think so. Alright, the good thing about this battleship, we've got Hydro. Not a bad idea to get yourself ready for that possibility. Okay. Okay, fired a long distance. Just missed it in front of the ship. And that's okay. But we're relying on teammates though. Helen has to do its job to try and spot the MEDD or provide torpedo attacks against on that Satsuma. Or on the Yamato. But I don't know which one is attacking which. So, a bit lost. Alright. Torps are looking great on the Satsuma. One torp has hit the Satsuma. Satsuma is on fire. And our own Satsuma is moving in. And we got torps coming out on it right now. Doesn't look good. Nice hit on the side of the Satsuma. But Satsuma has really sacrificed itself to do a Leroy Jenkins. And he is down. Alright, here we go. Shots have been fired. And we just Citadel'd him in the waterline. See that how easy it was for the Citadel? Alright, so let's move into position. He's around about, the Citadel's around about there. Gonna fire shots towards the front of the ship. And I'm doing a devastating hit on him. Auto is going for 43 seconds, as you can see. And I'm literally hammering him. Alright. Let's stay bow in towards the Yamato. But watch this Petra come in. Shots been fired. Okay, keep turning bow in. As you can see, it takes a little bit more punishment to do so. 49 secondaries. Okay. Nice shots. And shot again. But the point of the matter is how you can try and defend yourself. But that's alright. Let's not worry about it. We had fun. So, what can I say to you about the Hannover? Good ship to play. It really is. So, I will show you briefly what the Hannover spec was. This is the Hannover spec I was using. Very good build. It is actually a pretty decent build. Honestly, I find it, pretty decent. Very good to use. And I love it. I love it very much. So this is actually pretty decent to have. I recommend when you check it out, having extra, HE damage on this thing is actually pretty much a good thing to have. Yeah, I definitely would recommend it. Tenfold on this thing. But just give me 1 second. Yeah. Okay, here we go. So what we have here is that we got Prior Technician, Emergency Damage Repair Specialist, also Preventive Maintenance, and also Grease the Gears is pretty good. You don't have to have infused HE cells. Some people would prefer that, but you don't need to have extra bonus of the consumables either. AA defense is nice to have, but the AAs is plenty. Whereas the long range shells is actually definitely nice to have, and also the basic survivability. Close quarter combat is actually very nice to have. It's actually pretty good for reload time for secondaries and batteries, as well as fire prevention expert. Concealment is nice to have if you want, but to be honest with you, I would prefer more survivability in this thing. That's just me, but hey, it's good. It's good. The ship's very nice. I loved it. I enjoyed it. The Satsuma build, well, Satsuma build is actually a little different. I had more super AP shell bonus that I put into. Why did I do it? Well, I actually wanted to try and, do maximum output of damage on the thing. Even though there's a disadvantage with the flooding and fire extinguish time and recovery, as long as you have the basic survivability skill with it, you'll be fine. But I think overall, it looks great. It just does. So I think what you're doing, generally speaking, it is a pretty decent build. So anyway, yeah, if you have any questions, folks, I mean, like, honestly, it is a no-brainer. I mean, like, if you love it, what you're doing, with it, the content, please do so. If there's any tips and things that you believe that the super battleships should be a lot better, well, to be honest, everything is subject to change and always will change in the future with World of Warships. But being at an event like this is actually very productive. I have to applaud Mr. Conway and Chris Santos for the waterline promotion for it. And honestly, I think it's going to be great. Just give it time. It will evolve. in due time. Alright? So until then, captains, it's great to see you. Take care. Have a good one and stay safe. Alright? And see you next time.